Hi, it's Gary with Successful Gardens, and today we're going to be talking about poinsettias. I'm going to walk you through the steps of buying a poinsettia, and then in the process of taking it home, the care that you need to give the poinsettia to be able to enjoy the beautiful blooms of this wonderful flower during the holiday season. As we approach the holidays, you can't go into any store without seeing the massive displays of Christmas color with the beautiful poinsettia that has become a symbol of the holiday season the world over. This well-known and beloved flower is native to Mexico, and it was in the 1800s when the first ambassador to the country of Mexico from the United States, Mr. Poinsett, first came in contact or viewed this flower and brought it back to the United States and introduced it as a holiday flower, because in its native land of Mexico, this is the time of season when it is naturally coming into color in the wilds or in the countryside. With many stores offering the selections of poinsettias to choose from, you want to be careful of the ones that you buy, because sometimes what you buy at the store and by the time you get it home, let it acclimate to your house, you start to notice some character flaws that you might not have noticed in the store. One of the characteristics that you want to look at in the store is making sure that the leaves are nice and vibrant. They're fully erect. They're the tuber in the plants or in the leaves is full. You don't have any drooping or wilting leaves. That can be, wilting leaves can actually indicate two problems. You've got lack of water, and then you have overwatering. And so you want to also, when you're doing that, feel the soil. You can tell some stores will actually take the time to make sure that all the plants are watered, and then some of the larger discount stores might just bring them in, put them on a rack at the front door, and letting nature take its course and forgetting to water them. And so buyer beware. But you want to notice and look at the colored leaves. Now, to be technical, these are actually called modified leaves, called bracts. They're not actually a flower, and they're not a true leaf. It's a modified leaf called a bract. The true flower of a poinsettia is this yellow little cluster right in the middle of it. And they are just starting to come into bloom. But obviously the coloring has taken place, and so it will continue to maintain its color probably for another 2 months if I'm lucky. I've had poinsettias keep their color into February, and there was one year I was able to get some of the bracts still in color all the way into March. And then at that time it's time to cut it back and allow it to actually turn into a house plant. But back to looking at things in the characteristics in the store, make sure that you don't have a lot of scarring on the leaves. Scarring sometimes can happen actually in the greenhouse, the growing greenhouse, that from water spots, might be a fertilizer burn, but it can also happen in packaging and in shipment, so you want to be careful. Look under the underside and make sure that the stem is nice and erect. There's no broken stems inside of it, but you'll notice that this is a very healthy plant, and so I'm quite pleased with this purchase. But when you leave the store, hopefully you'll have a protective sleeve that it will be placed in. And then, depending on how cold it is in your area, it's also noteworthy to ask for an extra sack of one of those plastic sacks that you can carefully place over the top. And this will This will allow some protection from when you leave the store and get out to your car. I've seen many of poinsettias and other tender plants get damaged, frostburn, as just walking through the parking lot as they were going to the store. Now, once you're in your car, I would hope that you would just go home or be able to go home very quickly. Don't go to dinner, don't go places to where the poinsettias are going to sit in your car unprotected in the cold, because they will frostburn and sometimes they will not recover from that damage. So you want to be careful. Now, once you're home, there again, you'll take the protective sleeve and protective cover off, but most poinsettias come with a decorative sleeve like this foil wrap. It looks pretty. It's very nice to sit on the shelf. It's definitely a lot better than the ugly plastic pot that it has sat in while it was growing. But in this foil, one problem with this foil covering is that it holds water. So if you want to keep your poinsettia in this package, take a knife or a pair of scissors and score the bottom side of the plant, putting a hole, and this would in the bottom of that foil. This will allow for drainage and water will be able to then flow through. As you set it on the counter, have a saucer so that it can catch the excess water when you water. Now, speaking of watering, once you get it home, poinsettias, they don't like wet feet. That's why it's very important to make sure that the water drains through that foil and through the plant. If it sits in water, you'll experience a lot of root rot. The flowers and the plant itself will just start drooping. And so there's a tendency that, oh, a drooping flower or a drooping leaf, I better water it. And so then you add more water, and when actual, you just need to make sure that water is draining so then the roots can actually breathe. And so that's where poinsettias will usually fail, or is because of too much water. So while the poinsettia is in full color or blooming, you don't need to add any fertilizer. If you keep the poinsettia, it will turn into a nice green lush houseplant that you can maintain throughout the summer. A lot of people throw poinsettia away after the holidays. They don't want to take care of it. But if you are one of those that enjoy a challenge and want to keep it and see how long you can keep it, once the colored bracts have fallen off and now we're just into the regular green leaves, you will want to fertilize on a regular basis. Maybe once a week during the late spring and early summer. I would use one of the liquid fertilizers that you just add to the water, and so as you're watering each time, it's getting a mild fertilizer dose each time, and your plant will just continue to grow and be very lush and full. And once you get it in your house, you want to consider where you're placing the poinsettia. The poinsettia being native to Mexico, it likes the humidity. It needs warm temperatures, averaging between 65 and 75. 75 is on the high side. They consider the growing advice that they offer poinsettias or recommend for poinsettias is daytime temperatures being between 70 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit, with overnight temperatures being maybe 60's on the low side, but at least 65 degrees in doing that. You want bright indirect light or filtered light. You can see the light behind me, and this is great. I have a southern window, but I don't place my poinsettias right into the window. And that can be a little strong and can cause some burning on the leaves. So you want to be careful of the intensity of the natural light that you have. But avoid air vents. If you heat your house with wood burning stove, don't get it too close to the wood burning stove or the fan airways from that stove. Be careful of being close to cold open doorways. Those are definitely places that you want to avoid. Now, once the holidays are over and your poinsettia is starting to fade, what do? Well, hopefully you don't just throw it away. That's always a sad thing for me to see when poinsettias get thrown away. I like to grow the poinsettias on. They make a beautiful house plant. In the warmer summer days, you can actually set a poinsettia out on your patio if it's covered. You want to be careful of the intense sun and direct heat in the summer months. But then you can also get poinsettias to rebloom the following fall. And have you ever had a poinsettia rebloom and enjoy it the second year? That's a challenge I have for you at a later time. But no matter what type of poinsettia that you have, what color that you choose from, they truly are a gift that keeps on giving. It shows the colors of the holidays. I enjoy poinsettias. There's something just mesmerizing with all the different varieties that they have. Please consider hitting the like button, but most importantly, hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button so that you can continue on our journey of growing plants of all sorts, whether they're house plants or they're in the garden outside. Thanks for watching this video on growing poinsettias. Hopefully you've been able to learn something that has helped you be able to grow poinsettias and keep them growing throughout the holiday seasons. So until next time, remember, let's get growing.